Oh, by the way, if you're wondering what these flags are, they're actually the symbol or the flag of the new Merseyside region with the European Union stars around them. So, right, off you go.
Right, I'm going to keep it brief because I know the room's getting hot, and also I think there's a bar outside with lots of drinks that everyone would like to be frequenting. But if I can say a few words. Firstly, thank you to the friends here from the other Remain groups in our area. Thank you to the people from Liverpool for Europe who are here, from Warrington from Europe, from Southport for Europe, from Open Britain Sefton. I'm name-checking people who may not be here, but just to give you the impression we're a growing movement. And West Lancashire has just set up a branch in Ormskirk.
Really?
We will fight to win this referendum, and we are convinced there will be a referendum. So I want to try and inject some hope. I know that some people on the panel have said different things, so permit me to disagree, but we have to stay optimistic. I'm a faceless Eurocrat. I'm on sabbatical from the European Parliament. I've been based in Brussels for 20 years. Before that I worked in the House of Commons, and I worked for someone who I'm proud to have worked for, Sir Edward Heath. That tells you which party I'm from, until they decided to stupidly leave the EPP, the Christian Democrat family.
Absolutely.
We have friends on the continent. Just read today's letter in the Times, signed by a large number of leading figures from across Germany. They want us to stay.
Yes.
Do not believe all the propaganda that they want us out. I know Martin Selmayr seems to have become literally the beast, according to cartoons. I work with Martin. He hasn't edged this to him, but Britain represents the equivalent to 13 EU member states' GDP. We have things to be proud of. When we joined, we helped stimulate the creation of a Regional Development Commission Directorate. We helped put power behind development policy because we brought with us our Commonwealth friends. We helped create the single market. And fundamentally, we have a democratic input through the European Parliament, my employer. We have also created a wonderful thing, which is the freedom of movement that I enjoy by living in Brussels, although I'm in limbo. And so is my mother, because the reason I'm back here is to look after her. She's got early stages dementia, and she's German. And running through this evening's talks have been one of the main things that I think we forgot to raise in the referendum, except belatedly when Cameron did his British Museum speech, which is peace. Now, when I speak at schools, I don't find peace is irrelevant to young people. I've had the privilege to work with colleagues from Kosovo, from other parts of the former Yugoslavia. In the middle of the European Parliament elections and campaign in 2014, which is when I worked with Martin Selmayr, we had violence breaking out in the Ukraine. Do not assume peace is forever. But equally, I think your point about Project Fear, I don't want to use that as some sort of frightening people to support the European Union, because it's not perfect. Nothing's perfect in life. I'm certainly not. And most of my life isn't, by the looks of things at the moment. By the way, I have to do a lot of things, looking after his home and stuff that I never expected to do. But we should not give up what we've created. The world is looking at the European project. We have had 70 years of peace. My mother saw Dresden burning on the horizon when she was a child. She thought that was a second sun on the horizon. My father, who was a Yorkshireman, saw Hull burning, and then when my grandfather was based in Plymouth as the Royal Navy Lieutenant Commander, he saw Plymouth burning. Now, we're friends with Germany, as the letter shows. But it's more than the letter. Liverpool is twinned with Cologne, another name check to Aidan. Aidan's doing a wonderful video project looking at the links between Germany, Liverpool and Manchester. And I'm suggesting he also does a project looking at Stuttgart's links with St Helens. Yeah. And then remember the symbol that brings all of us together, which is the liver bird. That liver bird was designed by a Stuttgart woodcarver.
Really?
Yes, and he was put in the internment camp in 1918, but we'll gloss over that. But when you look at that liver bird...
But he was a good, hard-working Swabian, that's what matters.
When you look at that liver bird, you're looking at St Helens and you're looking at Liverpool, in my view, because you're looking at Stuttgart, you're looking at Cologne, you're looking at the future of a global city. A a city that should be proud and a region that should be proud of its outward nature. What we need to do is be positive, recognise imperfections, seek to change them, but work together. And I think one of the things, to my mind, that this all resembles, sadly, is the situation we went through in the 1930s. And I think, to my mind, what we're living through is the fallout of an equivalent financial trauma to 1929. Go back and look at the history. But then remember the words of a different four freedoms. And perhaps that's my criticism of the European Union a little bit. It's too economic. It has to be more based upon solidarity and social aspects as well as economic, but not just purely economic. Because the four freedoms of the European Union, can I remember them?
Of course you can.
Capital, goods, services, and people. And possibly
people come first.
well, I'm putting people at the end of the list, and there's a fifth freedom, possibly digital, which some people talk about. But primarily those are economic freedoms. But in 1941 State of the Union speech, Franklin D. Roosevelt, and if you're watching Kevin MacDonald's superb history of the great achievers, I would suggest vote FDR. Franklin D. Roosevelt basically said the four freedoms that we should look at are freedom of worship, freedom of speech, freedom from want or poverty, and above all, freedom from fear. We must fight fear in ourselves, and we must fight fear in our communities. We must start to be positive, we must call out the people who have lied to us, we must equally recognise the failings, but we must above all be proud, hopeful, optimistic, and try to fight that fear. And then we can win. I would like to say thank you to the speakers for what I think has been a very timely and fascinating evening. And hopefully they can all stay on for a pint of beer, at least for a little while, so some of you can shake a chat over a beer. I would also say thank you above all to your own Newton-Le-Willows, Mary Gregory. Because I took over chairing the European Movement last year, but I couldn't have done it without a lot of volunteers of my committee, Cosey's on it, Beaker, a number of people in this room, and all four of our speakers have thankfully, kindly agreed to be patrons of us. But Mary is the driving motor. It's a tribute to St Helens and a tribute to Newton-Le-Willows, because in 2018 we have had 15 meetings and 65 speakers and 500 different participants. We organise a regular monthly meeting in Avenue HQ in Liverpool, first Wednesday of every month, Worldwide Wednesday. Come along. The next one's focusing on refugees, migration, and the situation of creating a society that is at ease with itself. Please join us. And now, thank you to the staff of the Pied Bull Hotel for letting us use this room and for serving us here. Thank you.
Right, thank you everybody.